his dad is only shown in the movie one way on a horseback riding, right? And then there is that magnificent scene that makes the connection that this
Exactly.
dad abandoned me and then he found a different father, the surrogate dad.
Sila. Yeah, man.
The surrogate dad, the
Beautiful.
one that accepted him. Mr. Director, that was... We can't do a Bob Marley episode
without
tunes.
Rastafari tunes. Songs that I would actually have liked to see in the movie. Praise Jah in the Moonlight. Nice tune. It's a nice feeling listening to that tune. You can hear every inch of the Marley inside that grandson. YG Marley.
What up?
Cool, man.
Check the video, see when it run. Alright. You know me have the dilemma, okay?
Alright.
No, the dilemma of the week. I heard a story about the movie, something that they did in it, and I wanted to see. So the moral dilemma this week, you Tonniel.
Yeah.
You would have loved to play a role in the Bob Marley movie, right? If you had been given the opportunity, right?
Gladly,
Okay.
verily.
So there are certain key things and key differences that would have to be authentic. You agree, right? All right.
Yes, sir.
That would need to be authentic. One of those things is your appearance, right?
Yeah.
We already covered your skin tone might not match directly, but we can find ways around that. Also, another key thing that won't match your hair.
Yeah.
Your hair won't match.
Because I have different kind of locks.
So the locks in those times and what they were wearing was different. So that means chances are you'd have to cut your hair and put in different locks. Would you have been able to do that, to cut your hair and put in different locks?
All right. The response might take a little while, but me explain fully to you now. So, if you ask me this question, I've had my locks for 7 years coming in November. If you had asked me this question 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I would tell you there is no way, there is nobody who can tell me if I cut my locks. One, only to play a role for a movie. Two, because of my morality. Or three, my personal reason for not cutting my locks. I would not even debate it, to be honest. But being here, being outside of that real, what you call it, like militant kind of train of thought, I'm not saying I would be open to it, but I would think about it twice.
No, I'm not.
Because as you know, in these times, I can cut my hair now, put in a different set of locks. When the cast is done, I have my locks that I cut and I can put my hair right back in. You wouldn't even tell the difference.
Okay, so
Right?
you'd be able to do that?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't be able to cut your locks
I wouldn't.
for the role, so you'd be like, no, you wouldn't take the role, no matter how much money.
I wouldn't.
For the money, for the
Worse for the money.
For
the
the
money
honor
is,
of playing-
is tertiary.
for the honor of playing Bob Marley.
Huh?
They were like, cause you remember, Bob
Honor,
had different stage of his dread throughout the movie. So
Yeah.
how would you have gone about that?
But another thing I see it as doing I see it as doing a great service, not only to my hero Bob Marley, but also to my country in that light. But still, as I said, nowadays I would second guess it. Before I wouldn't. But I don't think I would.
You couldn't do it.
I couldn't do it.
So what if I told you like the cast members, they did that?
I know, I saw it.
They did that.
I saw it. You know who I saw it on? Family Man Barrett. I know that guy. That guy is a majestical drummer and bass player in real life. His locks was different. The drummer, because the drummer wasn't a Rasta. Carlton Barrett was not a
But
Rasta.
he still had locks.
He had locks before, and I saw him in the movie. I was like, wow, what get the eye if you cut him locks? But who else? Who else did you see? Those were the main
main one.
three.
I think
the
I
main
think, yeah.
two.
Because a lot of people had to cut their locks in the movie too.
to suit the roles.
But they did exactly what you said. They cut it
And later they put it right back in.
But
That's
do
it.
you think it's the same, like, with the same meaning?
What I believe these days, that Davaine, is that you're flowing into a different times. For example, here is like liquid. You can cut it today, it grow back tomorrow, and I think it would have the same meaning.
Okay.
But for me, I would find it hard to cut my locks to fit the role and then later put it back in.
Okay.
I don't think I would forget about it.
It will be a part of you. What do you think it would affect your beliefs?
It wouldn't affect my beliefs, but it would affect what I call my discipline. Because growing locks, anybody that you know with locks can tell you that it takes discipline to actually grow your hair. It takes discipline when people keep telling you, you're not going to the barber, you should be trimming your hair like this, da. It takes discipline to go within yourself to know that your locks is not just for appearance. Your locks is your covenant with Jah. To say, this is my uniform, this is my identity to carry on Jah works and Jah message, and to be a good, upright person, a righteous person. Because your locks is your righteousness.
Your identity.
Just like Samson's strength.
Come from
It wasn't actually strength. Him lift up places and whatever, lift up this and show it. No, it was his righteousness. His righteousness was his strength. Exactly. So it would be hard for me.
All right.
I don't think I would do it.
That was the dilemma for this week. But no, I knew it would have been a tough topic for you.
A tough one.
I think this is probably the most difficult one you got.
Wow. If they actually put this in front of me in real life, I would ask them if I can get a week to think about it.
No, I don't think anyone would just say yes to
no,
it like that.
No, I don't think anybody would say yes or no.
Easy. Because
it's a life-changing decision. So viewers might be listening saying, it's just here.
No.
But as I said, all the discipline that goes into it, the self-correcting, the just self-auto-correct when it comes on to these things, when you have your locks. Because at the end of the day, when you look in the mirror and you see yourself, you know who you're supposed to be, or who you're trying to be. Who you're trying to be,
Exactly. All right. Some things that are missing from the movie that you felt that should have been added.
All right.
What do you have?
Peter Tosh.
Okay.
I would have wanted to see what they actually put for him in the movie. I guess that was one of the reasons why the movie was actually shorter. Because, but to think about it, if they chose Peter Tosh between the 76 to 78, that time Peter Tosh was big in his career also. I'm trying to wondering how they would include Peter Tosh, even though he played at the One Love Peace concert. Peter Tosh. Yeah, they didn't show that part.
I think he was excluded, possibly because, as I said,
maybe the conflict between him and Bob too.
Painted Bob probably in a negative light, or they didn't want to. They couldn't convey the message where Bob was not seen in a positive light. Because, to be honest, like as I said, the movie primarily showed Bob in a positive light.
Primarily, yeah. There was only two scenes where Bob was, and those were two intense scenes. One was when him and Rita Marley was arguing, and Rita said, "You think me really, like Bob, me take care of your pitney them. Me do everything you say. Me reject all of these offers so we can stay with the band. You think me really give a rat's ass about Paris?
Yeah.
With their Paris, but what? Who actually know you? Who actually cares about you? That's inside there.
Sure. But that was another struggle that Bob was facing. As in, the more popular he got, the more
people wanted from him,
and the more he got separated
from his children, from Rita,
everybody,
but not from the message. Never.
Yeah.
Him and the message was one.
There was no.
In the beginning was the Word. The Word was with God. The Word was God.
There was no mention of his struggles with that as well. That I would like. I would like to see.
In terms,
like Gunther said it as well. We're back here with Gunther. We spoke to him before the movie. What are your thoughts now that you've seen the movie?
Well, was in tears at some stages, and I was thinking that it was very well made, that the most important things what catched his life was involved, that it was also an honest reflection, I think. The only thing what I was missing a little bit is that in his film his mother was not more present, because she was a very important person for him, especially before he died. I read some articles where he had very strong conversation with his mother about God and things like this, and this I would have liked that it is in it. But in a whole, with the political situation, with the time in London, wherever, I think as well that the Catch a Fire album was more important than the Exodus album. I think with the Catch a Fire album, he made himself a name. He got his record contracts with the Catch a Fire record, what was before the Exodus. So that could have been mentioned a little bit more, but very, very touched emotionally.
I could see that. You're not the only one. Like, at points, I felt that way as well. And I looked around, and the guy behind me, he was also in tears as well.
Yeah, I have a tattoo of Bob Marley on my heart. I have a Bob
A
Marley
tattoo. Wow, that's crazy.
It's handmade and not very clear, but
you had like the stenciling.
yeah,
So you felt every.
every little pain for him. Yeah, and Bob is for me a person what helped me through many circumstances in my life, sad ones and happy ones. He was just always there.
You also mentioned a while ago about his mother not being more predominant in the film. Do you think that's because they didn't want to focus the movie on his struggles with cancer? Because obviously, when someone gets diagnosed with cancer, there is a mental battle that you start fighting. And as you said, he starts getting closer to God in that regard as well, right?
But in the film, for example, he was something like Rota, it's just decision, I go with just decision. What was his main project? But with his mother, he had conversations where he was saying, but mom, why me? What have I done wrong? And he was not that strong. He was not that sure and things like this. And then his mother was there for him and saying, well, Bobby, God knows.
Yeah, for real.
For this
For real.
reason. Yeah.
And he's always been, as you say, Rastafari. So he took the religion was to his core. So obviously at the end he probably starts questioning Jah, right?
On the end with his mother, yeah. What I read, you never know if it's true or made up or things like that. But I can believe it that he had the conversation and saying, but mommy, why me? What I have done that Jah gives me the cancer. I have never done anything bad to anybody. So he was then in a little bit of conflict, being confronted so young with this serious illness. And unfortunately, he had to go very early.
And is there anything in his life that you've read or learned about that you wished would have been covered, like you felt that it needed to be in there?
Well, not really, because I don't know everything, also not. Of course not. There might be things what I don't know. But for the political situation, his desire to unify people, to be against the racism and everything what comes especially strong out in the song War, that was his life. For this he was writing music, for this he was playing music to bring people together.
Thank you so much, Gunther. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Everything.
Thank you. We need it. Appreciate it. Jallo. You wanted to see more of, as you said, Bob Marley's message, his struggle with cancer, how he talked with his mom after that. Because when you get a terminal diagnosis, what's the first thing most men start contemplating?
You go to mommy,
and
this happened to me. Because she's the one you first know. She's your first love. She's your first God. The first everything for you.
And then you start contemplate Jah as well.
First goddess, sorry.
Yeah. You start contemplate Jah. Why
Of
him?
course.
Why me? Why me, Jah? Why may I spread your message? May I do everything?
Yeah, why you do this to me?
Why me, Jah?
Why me?
Why so early?
I think they should have included his mother, Sidela Buka Marley.
More.
They only showed a small piece of her when she was after his father saying, Naval, You have you have your child here, and his father rejected him. And
Speaking of his father, so his
wait, before we go upon him father, wait.
Pause.
I'm sorry. Before we get to the matter of his father, they should have included his mother for more than one reason. That reason, another reason was there was a time when Bob actually went to Delaware to work. When in his career.
Well, that was in the teens, no?
No, that was it. That was in the 70s also.
Yeah.
For one point, yeah. No, sorry. No, I was his teens. Yeah,
It was
yeah,
his
yeah,
teens,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. That record
Well,
come out
because it's
well
more
early. Yeah.
I think we spoke about it in our early episode when we talked about the movies, the Jamaican. The prior episode that we did about the preview to this one, we talked about how it was where Jamaican family members go abroad and then they start working there. His mom went to Delaware to start working there to be able to take care of Bob back
home
in Jamaica. This is a common story and a commonality that I think this is a Jamaican movie trope that I felt was a really good one that they included as well, because Bob struggled with that as well. His dad didn't want to be a part of his life, and then his mom, even though they were very close, she had to go
2 hours later
to Delaware to try and at least
make a better life for them.
Make a living.
Yeah.
So she was absent for a good period of his childhood, but they still had a close connection.
They had a close spiritual connection. And you know one thing I noticed about every great man that has their mother around, their mother usually becomes like their spiritual guidance. Because you always go back to mommy. As I say, mommy is your first goddess, your first love, your first connection with a human being. You know what I say?
True.
So you always try to go back to that source so you can find your powers back.
And it was always him and her, because as I said,
man.
his dad didn't want to be a part of his life. Like, his dad was a white man plantation overseer.
Yeah, he didn't want to be seen with a black girl.
Black girl.
And that is a very common story of what used to happen back in those days too.
Exactly. And he went to England. I think
he had his family back in England.
Yeah, if he had possibly been closer to Bob would have probably known that there was a history of cancer in his family. And when he got that initial diagnosis or stuff, he would have probably taken it more seriously. Think about it that way. Like, if you heard, like, my father drop out.
I know he tried.
Drop out. I know he tried to fight it in the end, but...
No, but he tried to find a connection with his family. You know this song? The stone that the builder refused, that Wailer sing?
Yeah.
Shall always be the head cornerstone.
He's got a great voice.
So apparently, back in the 60s, the Marleys, they had something in Jamaica. What do you call it now? A building. You know, like we said, black and construction things. One of the Marleys own it. And I hear Bob Marley went there and was trying to explain to him, say, yo, me a naval son. You know, me can show my papers, whatever, and they just rubbish him, say, go away. And that's why I wrote that song.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All
Retribution is a vengeance song, yeah.
All right. His dad is only shown in the movie one way, on a horseback riding, right? And then there is that magnificent scene that makes the connection that this dad abandoned me and then he found a different father.
In Haile King Selassie the first.
That was Mr. Director. That was
That was actually one of the most brilliant things in the movie. I thought you didn't see it.
Of course.
I think you never see it, dog.
Of course.
Lord.
Oh, this is
Trust me. Yeah. That was one of the most beautiful things in the movie.
No, man, I was analyzing it and I was like,
good.
Because he was running away from his troubles.
Yeah, man.
All behind him from he was a kid. He's been running, and he never stopped.
Yeah, man.
Until Jah found him and gave him peace.
Find him and give him peace.
And that was the replacement, the surrogate.
Sealer. Yeah, man.
The surrogate that
Beautiful.
the one that accepted him. That twist towards the end there was magnificent. And I enjoyed that one as well.
Let me see if
next
I'm
thing
missing anything.
within that I wanted to see more of as well was Bob was a very promiscuous man.
Promiscuous, you call it?
Rita call it gallivanting in the movie.
Gallivant.
Yeah, but it's the facts of the story. I understand, I'm making a movie. I'm Ziggy. I'm making a movie, and my mother is going to watch this movie. I don't want my mother to see any disrespect.
Well,
I don't want my mother to go through that pain and trauma again.
Remember, you know, even his pain and trauma. It's always pain and trauma to see the one you love with somebody else. Always. Like I don't think there's anybody in this world who can actually stand that. But remember, eventually Rita was his guardian, not his lover, and she even understood these things. Even back in those days, it's a known fact. The band members would say it. Like girls would try to come to Bob Marley's room, and he would call Rita and say, "Rita, come and take these girls out of this hotel room or run with them woman here." You know? Even for example, you remember when the scene when he was singing, "Turn your lights down low and pull your window curtain."
That was false.
Well, I know. I have a curiosity because growing up, I heard that song was not for Rita.
It's a Cindy Breakspear.
Turn your lights down low and open your window curtain. A lot of people don't know that Cindy Breakspear was a tenant in Bob Marley's house in Jamaica.
I thought she was a neighbor.
A tenant.
Yeah.
Used to be a tenant in his house. At the time, I don't know if Cindy was young. She was young, I believe. You know, but she was a tenant, and you know, Bob used to fool around apparently. And him even sing Waiting in Vain. And Waiting in Vain came on the Exodus album. I don't wanna wait in vain. You know? I am wondering if he sang that one for Rita or for Bob. Growing up,
or for Cindy.
I used to for Rita or for Cindy. Growing up, I used to analyze it that he sang that song for Cindy. You know why? In the song, him says certain things like, "Is it feasible? I want to know. For I to wait some more. Waiting in vain." I don't think he was waiting on Rita.
But
could he be waiting on Cindy? Or he might be waiting on Rita.
Could have been a different woman.
You know why too? Turn your light down low and pull your window curtain. Let Jah Moon come shining in. Maybe he was waiting for Rita to do it. To let him back in her life.
The signal.
And then when him find out, him say, "I don't wanna wait in vain."
Or Bob could have been a gallus and tell Rita, "I wrote this song for you, Rita." And then tell Cindy.
Another thing too. Another thing that they didn't say in the movie. Rita didn't want to sing that song. It could not be in the set when they were touring.
That means she felt like the song wasn't for her then.
Exactly. That's why in the movie when they put "Turn Your Lights On," it kind of made me think, it could have been for her. So that song, Rita refused. Everybody know Rita refused to sing that song. If that song was on the set, she come off.
Or maybe because everyone else thought the song wasn't for her. Even if she knew the song was for her, everyone else probably thought.
Exactly. And when the song come on, everybody might be looking at Rita and say, "Oh,
Rita, you're tuned this." Rita.
Rita.
The brown skin girl tuned this.
Yeah. And they showed Cindy Breakspear in the movie. They didn't give her just a glimpse. They didn't give her a big part of the movie.
Again, because it's produced by Ziggy and Rita, so Sydney was never going to get that.
They didn't notice it. Not even like during all of these previews and whatever. I haven't seen Davaine Marley promoting the movie.
No, why would he? Why would he? Would you promote that movie?
Why not?
Because would you promote the movie knowing that your mother is portrayed in it?
No, but his mother wasn't portrayed in any bad light. She just wasn't up in the forefront.
No, the movie basically portrayed the mother as just being another side piece, nothing else. That is essentially what the movie. She didn't even get a line or so.
Well, no, they showed her 3 times. One when Bob and Rita was on the phone, and Rita said, "But you know, I've company there already."
Yeah.
And you see her in the background, or smoke and whatever.
Yeah.
Later in the studio, they showed her there, and then something happened, and then they showed her when she won Miss World, and that was it.
All right.
3 times they saw her face.
Okay. Let's look on this now, right?
Yeah.
Bob was with Sydney, and they had a kid, right? Sydney Breakspear, for those who know, won the Miss World in the 70s. The most beautiful woman in the world was her.
Jamaica.
And Bob Marley, the most prolific artist of the time, was with this woman.
The most beautiful woman in the world.
With Bob Marley, having an affair.
Time.
Having an affair. And the world knew about it.
Yeah, the world, it was in papers. They used to put it in papers.
Exactly.
They used to put things like the wild Rasta man with the most beautiful woman in the world, things like that. Apparently, even the band members, is a known factor. The band members used to think, I used to say that Cindy was the only woman that they saw like a whole different side of Bob Marley, a playful child. When it come on to Cindy, it wasn't like with Rita, the relationship that they had, that they were militant and you are my guardian, I love you, whatever.
Message.
Yeah.
Could have shown a different
Cindy was
side.
more like play, you know, more for lovers, apparently. That's
Have
what they say in the band.
a different side to him.
They even have photo shoots together, Cindy and Bob.
So don't you think that she played more of a role than a few snapshots in scenes? Don't
Of course,
you think she
yeah, man.
influenced
In
his music?
real life,
Don't
yeah.
you think she influences music as well?
Influences music.
If you're come on, you know, whenever you're anyone can attest
but
to
remember,
that. Whenever you're with someone,
Yeah.
even if you're just having an affair or something with someone,
Yeah.
they leave a mark on you. They leave parts of themselves
Of
with
course,
you.
Rasta.
You tell me this all the time. Whenever you're with someone, they leave piece of them energy with you.
Definitely.
And Bob was not using any power protection, so Bob was getting some of the energy. and they had a child together as well.
Then you know, see it, man.
So I felt like there should have been more mention of her in it.
Look on this. I didn't remember the date that Cindy Breakspeare won Miss World. She won it in 1976.
And Bob died what? 1981.
Mm-hmm.
And they were probably together for 2-3 years at least.
But when they showed him in England, that was 77.
Yeah, but yeah.
Yeah,
And
so
she
they
was
were
still
together.
around.
Yeah, they were still around. So they were together or just there for like at least 3 years.
While Rita was in America taking care of the kids. So all that point in time, she was the one that was around there.
It's rough. I don't like that part about what Bob did. Him put Rita through a lot of things.
Yeah, but
Rasta.
all right. And that, as I say, Rita was his rock, right?
The rock.
That is a old term concept as well, that some women nowadays, they would never be willing to compromise their ego for
of
that.
course.
And in Jamaica, that is a very common thing back then.
Yeah.
Like your
what do you call
dad
it? Common law.
your dad will have his wife at home, and your
Mhm.
neighbor will also be your brother or your sister. These are the things that happen.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A lot of these things were not portrayed, and I felt like they could have done a better job.
They could have.
But I understand, Ziggy. I understand, Rita. Like, this is your script. This is your vision
you get
about.
to do what you want.
This is how you saw the world, and you're showing us how you saw the world, and I respect that. Yeah. But I do think if Cindy put out a movie,
different opinion.
a different movie.
And another thing too with Rita's role in the movie, I think they did a good job with at least giving Rita her say in the movie. Because looking from outside inward to their relationship, you didn't really hear much from Rita, coming from Rita. That movie kind of gave her a voice. You could see how she would go through the motions with Bob, taking care of his kids, actually talking to him and say, Bob, get your shit together.
Yeah.
You know, all of this. I like the way that they showed.
Yeah.
That. Because before, you only heard about things with Rita Marley.
Mm-hmm.
You know? What I found interesting, I used to hear this when I was younger. I don't know if it's true, but they included it in the movie. When Bob said to Rita, you have an ex-man in Jamaica.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how true that is.
It's true because Rita has a child that's not Bob Marley's.
Where?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
When?
I think
Which year?
I wouldn't know the year, brother, but I know there's Sharon, and then there's Ziggy, and then Sidela, and then another one. And that one is allegedly not Bob Marley's child.
Me never know at all. Which one that was?
But the thing with Bob Marley is every year or every 5 years, a new child pop up. A new child pop up in the works.
Yeah, man.
I don't know if it's Stephanie or one of them or Sarita.
Sarita don't look like Bobby, though.
Yes.
Sarita don't look like
And
Bobby,
she's younger. Yes.
She 38. Well, this is after Bob.
After Bob.
You talk about during Bob Marley.
During Bob, who's Stephanie's? But Rita had a child
Fuck.
with someone else afterwards.
Wait, Stephanie Marley was not adopted. Stephanie was not adopted, no?
No, Sharon was adopted.
Correction. Stephanie Marley was adopted by Bob Marley.
So it says Stephanie Bar in 1974.
No, one of them. I don't know which one, brother, but two of Rita's kids aren't Bob's kids.
Yeah, but you know him adapt them still. You
Yeah,
know?
he adopt. Two of them aren't his kids.
At least I one of them, Sharon.
So even though Bob was doing his thing, Rita was doing her thing as well.
Yeah, man. I'm a like so the movie show that. Say I know Bob alone could have do it. You know me I say Rita have her thing too. They didn't go deep into it, but it gave Rita more power in the movie, not to say that she was a submissive woman that say, okay,
No.
Bob, yes, Bob. Okay,
No.
Bob, for you, Bob. No, she wasn't a robot.
But then the mindset was different, you know.
Yeah, man.
Back then a woman or a Jamaican woman would play a certain role in the life. Like, I know you're doing these things in the street, but I'm the wife. I have the ring, and that's me. You do your thing as long as it doesn't impact the kids and the family. Because, to be honest, like, there was a cultural expectation of it for the men to be like that. And
This is not necessarily good, you know?
yeah, it's not necessarily a good thing, but it was back then, and it was the facts back then, and we can't try to paint over it because of our
relationships were different.
or
back
new
then.
modern standards for relationships now.
Yeah.
Because nowadays, like, I don't think many people would be able to be in a relationship like that. They would get a divorce.
Yeah. Easily. They'll get a
Easily.
divorce.
So, Rita, maybe for the next one, because there will be another story for the next story.
I hope so.
Let's
Better be.
Let's look into it, because like people want to hear about, like, if people was like a Cindy Breaks here, Bob Marley's here, people love gossip. People
Love
would
gossip,
be
brother.
rushing to the movie theater to find out
God,
more about
yeah,
this.
man.
So they'll be running for it.
What
Another
else you have?
the another thing that we wanted to talk about was these conflicts with his manager.
Oh, we know that story, but the movie did not put the real story.
Yeah.
So, you want me to tell the story?
You can tell the story, Rasta.
All right, Rasta. So, it was actually true that Bob Marley got into a scuffle with his manager, Dan Taylor. Because Dan Taylor was skimming the money. Him say, all right. Dan Taylor say, all right, now. I'm a businessman. Bob is a Rasta. Bob don't really care about the money. But so at the end of the day, Bob won't mind. A 10,000 US more. A 50,000 US more. 100,000 US more.
Skimming off the top.
Skimming off the top. And Bob found out about it. You know, based on Dan Taylor dressing certain ways, for example, buying Gucci, wearing the finest suits. You saw him in the movie? It's actually true. If you look at pictures of Dan Taylor back then, he was a well-classy man. And one day, them and the band members, Neville Garrick was there, Bob Marley was
allegedly.
there. Allegedly, no. Neville Garrick even say it in interviews, even in the Bob Marley documentary. In 2012, Neville Garrick said, him say, Bob, take Dan Taylor, him and some of the members, and them carry him in our room, them lock the door, and them question him with a tape recorder for 3 or more hours. And what happened? Dan would say something, and you know, they asked him the same question an hour later, and he would give a different response. And they said, play back the tape. Boom. And him said something else. You never said this.
How much money
Boom.
again?
How much money? Boom. And me say them beat the shit out of him. Like them beat him. I'll hang him out a window and them kind of things. They beat him. So it wasn't the small beating that they gave in the movie. Neville Garrick and the others can tell you, which is a fact. Another thing, another bad, I don't know if you see this as bad, but back in those days, to get your song to be played on the Jamaican airwave in the early 70s, when disco music, classic music, all of those music was on Jamaica. Jazz was on Jamaica radio waves, because the radio waves were not controlled by the poorer people of the country. And reggae is poor people music. And they didn't want to give the voice to the poor man. So what they would do, Bob Marley and his friend Alan Skill Cole, which is a great footballer, one of Jamaica's greatest footballer. They used to be friends.
We mentioned this in the little intro thing.
Yeah.
As well.
Alan Skill Cole, and one day him and Bob say, Skill Cole, follow me go to the studio, and we try to get a record play. And when they got there to some of the studios, Bob would say, Skill Cole, listen to the radio. When I come out, tell me if you hear the song play. Tell me. And he would go inside the record, and also he'd go into his trunk and take out his baseball bat, and he would go in. And best believe it, they played the song after that.
Because then the radio, as I said, the radio waves didn't like that kind of music.
No, it was, they didn't like struggling.
Not even Jamaica like, alone, brother, but
No.
music has always gotten a fight.
Listen, the poor should not have a voice according to the status quo. If you're poor, shut up, sit down, go to that side. You don't have a voice. And even if you do have a voice, you're criticized for what you say.
Don't express
How can that be fair?
Once you're criticizing the struggles, then it becomes a problem.
And that's why reggae music is the people's music, the king's music,
The
that
message,
come to help
the message,
the down-pressed people.
the message.
And they didn't like that, so they had to put that to the forefront. So, yeah. Another thing, what else was incorrect about the movie that you saw?
Actually, I think that's pretty much it, bro.
Yeah.
I think that's pretty much it for the movie. Of anything that we thought was incorrect or needed to be added, I don't have any more notes. Actually, I run out of notes.
I have one more. The soundtrack.
Oh,
The soundtrack. I like the songs that they chose. They didn't only choose the songs that Bob are known for. They chose some songs that really rock your heart. For me, for example, they chose some good songs for the soundtrack. I wanted to hear some songs, but they didn't choose some. But they did a good work. They did a good job with the soundtrack,
okay.
The soundtrack, nice.
The soundtrack. I think the soundtrack will probably win a Grammy easily. It will win the Reggae Grammy, as usual. The Bob Marley Grammy, the Marley Grammy.
Respect is due,
Yeah, they will win that one. The movie, in terms of awards, it'll be a tough one because the people that watch this movie aren't Jamaicans, and they might not know much about Bob Marley. And without being a fan of Bob Marley, the movie might not hit it for him. Because we have some reviews based on that. Because I don't want you guys to take our point alone. So we have some reviews on the movie as well. But before that, let's get into some out of 5. No, before we do that, out of 5, I'm gonna give you some categories, and you're gonna put your ratings, and I'll put my ratings in there. All right. The cast out of 5.
Out of 5. 5 out of 5.
3.5 for me.
Yeah.
Because I needed. It would have been better if we had found a Jamaican. That is just my personal. These ratings are
listen,
personal.
we have our buy. Yeah, definitely.
Personal. Yeah, it's an opinion.
Of course. Yeah.
The visuals. Out of 5. Jamaica.
3.9.
3.9. I would just give it a solid 4. The storyline.
For that time that they did.
For the message that they were trying to convey.
I'll give it a 4. 4.
I would say 4.2.
Yeah.
4.2. The impact it will have on the Jamaican culture.
On the Jamaican culture?
Yeah. Out of 5.
The same as every day, because as I said in previous episodes, do people actually love Bob Marley in Jamaica?
We will find out.
So I would say impact on Jamaica, 3.
3? I would say it would affect the culture a lot because a lot of people in Jamaica don't know a lot about Bob Marley as well.
And that's very sad.
So I would say 4.5.
Yeah.
I said the accents and the language, the audio. How was that?
5. 5.5.
They didn't Cool Runnings it.
Hey, no.
Okay.
This was not a Hollywood patois movie.
Yeah, which was good.
Which was...
And the soundtrack.
10 out of 10 or 5 out of 5 for the soundtrack.
5 out of 5.
Trust me.
And another thing that we didn't go into, the director. Do you think he did a good job out of 5?
I would have give him I give him a 4.3 out of 5 because Mr. Director, I respect your works, Rasta. I respect your works, but I would have liked to see some things during that same period in Bob's life that is actually missing.
Yeah, I think
You know?
it wouldn't have hurt for the movie to be 2 hours.
2.5 hours
Yeah, because
to properly cover even those 3 years of his life. That was the height of his career. Another thing that they didn't even include, I wish they would do this to end the movie, even though it was really sad. When he fell down in Central Park, when they call all the family and say,
I hate this.
Bob is going home on Monday morning. He has done his works. Come visit him, in Miami. Bring him some breadfruit, some fried fish. Come talk to him for the last time, because this might be the last time you see him, as he will be.
Right. So, and the overall for the movie out of 5?
Overall, I give it a 4.5.
I will also give it a 4.5 because I enjoyed the movie.
Enjoy it to the fullest.
It moved me emotionally.
Oh, God.
And I think those are the 2 main criteria without looking into anything else. 4.5, maybe even more.
Yeah.
4.75. 0.25 just because.
The movie moved me. It really moved me, the movie, emotionally. Honestly.
Yeah. So with that said, I feel like, but let's see what some of the critics have said.
Yeah,
Let's see some of the internet critics have said about the movie. So the consensus for the critics, I realized that if you check the Rotten Tomatoes, we're just going by some of these because normal people give opinions as well. I don't only want like these professional people that get paid to criticize something talking.
Yeah.
So the people that have watched the movie, they gave it 93% as the audience score, which is pretty good.
They deserve it.
So the critics on the other side give it 43%.
The actual critics.
Yeah, like
movie
people,
critics.
people that are no, not necessarily paid. These people just
that criticize
a lot of movies.
Yeah.
So the common consensus is, it'll be on the screen as well, guys.
Yeah.
Kingsley Ben-adir does an admirable job in the central role, but Bob Marley, One Love, is ultimately a standard biopic that doesn't do justice to its brilliant subject.
I can see where they're coming from, because me and you know the greatness of Bob Marley, the greatness of his journey. As we said, more could have been added, but they needed a longer movie.
And I think people outside of the culture and outside of understanding Bob Marley, which most of these critics probably are, no offense to them, they probably just know him on a few songs, this new One Love or a few songs.
I would not want to believe that, but that might be true.
That might be true.
That might be the case.
Yeah. They will obviously, Kingsley's role acting was phenomenal. So he took the center stage there. So he did a great job. So his acting actually brought the storyline. I think if it wasn't such good acting, the storyline would have probably fallen flat if he didn't bring across the emotions.
Of
the way
course,
he did.
yeah.
So that might be something true. All right. This other one from the UK says, a particularly uninspired and differential plot around the life and legacy of the Jamaican reggae star. Doesn't sound, All right. Another one. For nearly 2 hours, the movie plods along, offering little beyond acne dialogue that can't be gleaned from a quick read-through of a Wikipedia entry.
That's kind of true. I will admit that's kind of true. Because based on research that I've done, being a Bob Marley fan and watching the documentaries and reading about these things, as I said, there was a million things happening even during those times. Not just Wikipedia, not just. All right, let me name some things that they did. It's not just the Smile Jamaica concert, which was the concert he did after he got shot. Not just him being shot, not just him going to England, but did you know that he actually got together with you remember the punky kids, the punk guys with the afros and singing whatever.
The metal.
You remember when he said in the movie, I'm going to say it in patois, them mania I sing about the same thing Rasta sing about, but in a different style. Them are go against the monarchy,
Like
and we are go against Babylon. In the end,
say a different.
he actually like got together with them. He didn't make a song, but he made a song about the struggle of the punk people in England.
Yeah.
You know, Punky Reggae Party, that song?
Yeah, I don't know that song.
So that song was actually kind of homage to the struggle of the punk people in that time.
You could see there were rebels.
They were rebels as well, but in a different frequency, in a different context, you know?
Sending the message through music in a different way.
Just like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Another critic. The director's previous film is King Richard. His new film is an interesting, if undemanding, glimpse into parts of the life of Bob Marley. He gives it a 3 out of 5. So this guy, King Richard, was, I don't know if you've seen that.
No, I haven't
It's
seen
Will
that one.
Smith, the story of Venus and Serena's dad. This one actually won an Oscar.
Really?
You should check that movie. Really good movie.
Ah.
Really good. That's the one that Will Smith got Oscar for. The one when he.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
That's the movie.
Well.
And this is the guy that directed that movie. That's why he was probably picked as well. As the
Yeah.
director.
You know, you try to go to the best person.
All right, we have that guy was from the Australian,
Yeah.
that magazine. Another guy, Richard Roper from the Chicago Sun-Times. Straightforward and conventional, yet consistently involving. He gives it a 3 out of 4.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Okay, yeah.
That argument, like Marley's unrushing worries about the source of discoloration in his toe that is eventually diagnosed as skin cancer, is dispiriting. One of many clouds of unease plaguing the film. So this person just choose one area to focus his criticism on. I guess he wanted
That was a part of the story, you know.
I guess they wanted to, when cancer is such a big topic, whenever somebody hear about it, they feel like
ooh,
we need to learn more about it. We need to learn more
yeah.
about his struggle with it. So I get that.
Mm-hmm.
Another guy, CTV's Your Morning. The film recognizes the value in Marley's relationship to Rita, his impact during Jamaica's political crisis, and his search for healing in the music, but it never finds the rhythm when weaving those strands together and fails to do them justice.
True.
He could have gotten that from this as well. Another one, what could have been daring is ultimately trite, relying on familiar music biopic tropes. It's a shame because at the center is a bravura performance from Kingsley Ben-Adir, who is uniquely suited to the title role.
What?
A bravura.
What does that word mean?
I think it is a great performance.
A bravura. Wow.
Tribune News Service.
I've never heard that word.
I never heard that word as a chat GPT. Yeah. That's a chat GPT review. She gives it a 2 out of 4. Yeah. Next one. Kingsley Ben-Adir catches the spirit of Jamaican legend who became the face and voice of reggae and the Rastafarian conscience of his people. But this safe, shallow, family-sanctioned biopic gives us only snippets of songs and scraps of a life.
I won't say scraps of a life. But as I keep saying, they showed less than what was actually happening, you know?
I feel like the consensus from the critics are that
they wanted more details, not just the story that has already been told. Give us something that we didn't read or we didn't hear in a documentary before. That's what people wanted. I actually wanted that too. So I understand some of these critics when they say that.
Yeah.
Give me a little bit more details, man.
Critics go into a movie sometimes, with expectations, and if they don't get filled, then that's a movie for them, or they don't get superseded. But to each his opinion.
Yeah.
One Love doesn't know how to begin exploring this artist and his art in any way that even begins to be interesting. Wow,
that was hard. How much?
They didn't put a number there. Another one. The generation won't learn the artist's whole life story from this biopic, but they just might be inspired to do some Googling after the credits roll. 2.5 out of 5. Yeah, there's no way you could learn everything about Bob Marley from this movie. So just go into it a bit and do some research. Learn more about Bob Marley, listen to his music, and see what he says. I think this is the last one I'll read. Yeah. If you want, just go on the internet and research them.
A lot of people have been saying a lot of things about the movie.
Yeah. The next gen, what's this guy? Okay. Randy Myers from San Jose Murky News. Whenever this family authorized biopic about the Jamaican-born reggae icon who gave us classics such as Jamming, Everything's Gonna Be Alright, and One Love loses its storytelling grip, led Kingsley Ben-adir saves it, and everything's all right. So he's basically saying that whenever it went off script or went off the plot, Kingsley did a good job. 2.5. I do feel like some of their points are valid. I'm not going to disparage any of them.
Yeah.
But I am watching the movie from the mindset that this was produced by the family, and this is how they viewed their dad, and this is how they viewed their husband.
This was not somebody outside of the family doing the movie by themselves.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If it was somebody outside the family, they would have done probably a documentary kind of thing, and then they would have a different message.
Yeah.
But Ziggy, message to you. You know what? Actually, I have a problem with him as well.
Yeah.
I have one problem with you, Ziggy. Stop, go for an interview and call the man Bob. Call him daddy.
No. I can understand it. I've seen it before with my other hero when it comes to music and it comes to my mentor, Fela Kuti. He told his children, don't call me daddy. Call me fella. Fella. I am fella. Call me fella. I'm your daddy, but call me fella.
But in the movie, he calls him daddy. He had that in the script.
Of course.
For me,
that was it.
For me personally.
No, but the thing is, hold on. The thing is another vein. You understand is your daddy. At the end of the day, is daddy. But daddy
is different.
His name Bob like kind of succeeds daddy because the name Bob is greater. It rings a bell when you say Bob and not daddy.
But bro,
it's like it's two different people, you know. Daddy Bob Marley and Bob Marley. Two different people. So when you're talking about one, you say Bob Marley. Because this is what Bob Marley did.
Bob.
Yeah.
He always says Bob. He doesn't
this is
say
what Bob did. And this is what Daddy did. He kind of separate them. You know?
I find that weird, brother.
Yeah?
Me
weird. Too. I call my father Daddy.
Yeah. Could you, if I...
Or Papa.
Yeah. If I say, yo, how's your father doing? You're going to say, yo, Jana go on good?
No, Rasta.
Can you go on TV and call your father by his name like that?
No.
Would you do that?
No.
All right.
But it's a different relationship between Bob and Ziggy, though. As I say, the name Bob Marley succeed Daddy.
I just find it weird, and from our cultural norms and mores, like I find it a bit disrespectful. Like I can't.
You don't get some licking on your face. What kind of Bob you come? Me and your daddy.
Yeah, no first name basis.
I'm your dad.
No
come. It's not a first
like for
name.
me,
it's not.
Like you look in my phone, it saves as daddy to this day. And
I see mine as
Mr. Reed.
Yeah.
Because we have a little inside joke. He's like, Mr. Reed, what you doing today? And I'm like, Mr. Reed, I'm doing fine. Yeah. You know? But never by his first name. Never by his first name.
When I call my father by his first name, I don't even say Carlton. I say Cali.
Oh, man.
Because, just to make it little, you just say Cali or Papa or Daddy.
I would not. I don't think ever. But maybe, you know what? Your relationship, I just find that that's just a little thing for me. That
I understand. It's like it's something that they're drilling us about respect. It's not like here in Spain, for example, the kids call the teachers by their first name.
Yeah.
And I kind of think that blurs the line when it comes to authority.
Yeah.
And that's another thing, that's one reason why we don't call our parents by their name, because of authority.
That's their title. That is a title.
Exactly. We're born to respect authority. If you fall out of line, you get dropped.
To this day, I call people Miss and Mr.
Me too. With all respect.
Or sir.
All respect. Unless they tell me not to, I would call them that.
Or sir. Like, if I talk to a man that's, let's say, 50s right now, I would not refer to him by his first name. I would be like, Mr. Yeah. I don't know. Well, from our school, why? Like,
play with them.
I have to call them sir.
Of course.
I have to call them sir, but it's just a little difference there for personality.
They taught us to be gentlemen going to school. They always say gentlemen.
Yes.
They didn't say boys, gentlemen.
Yeah. That's an all boys school for you. Teach you to be gentlemen.
Yeah, man.
But let's close off this week with Tonniel's tunes. Because, we can't do a Bob Marley episode without tunes.
Rastafari, tunes.
Tonniel's tunes for this week are...
So this week I will include songs that I would actually have liked to see in the movie. And there was one who made the movie, you know. So the first one, but before I get to those songs, first one on the list is YG Marley's song,
The hit, global hit now.
Praise Jah in the Moonlight.
Tune the body in the dog.
Bad tune.
Bad piece of
Wicked
tune.
Nice
Bad
tune.
tune.
It's a nice feeling listening to that tune. You can hear every inch of the Marley inside that grandson. YG Marley.
Bono!
Cool, man.
Bono!
Anyways, going to the second one on the list. One of my favorite Bob Marley songs of all time. I will always play this song, Concrete Jungle. No sun will shine in my day today. The high yellow moon won't come out to play. You know? Concrete Jungle. Living in a concrete jungle. Number 3 is No More Trouble. They played this one in the movie. I was surprised when I heard it. I love this song also. Another one I wanted to hear was from his Rastaman Vibration album. They didn't include any song from that. They wore the t-shirt because, you know, it was in 1976 when that album came out. They were in the Rastaman Vibration t-shirt, remember?
Yeah.
But they didn't play any songs from that album that I remember. I might be wrong, but that I remember. I wanted to hear Crazy Ballad. Chase those crazy ballads out of the town. I wanted to hear that one. And last but not least on the list is So Much Trouble in the World, which actually came from his Survival album, which was in 1979. You know, that album was also one album that Bob handcrafted. He wanted this song to be for Africa. You know, because in the movie he was trying to get to Africa.
You know, now that I think the movie...
Go forward to Africa.
You mentioned the movie, like, the movie did a good job of showing Bob Marley's work ethic. Because normally, there's this stigma when you see a man smoking herbs and things like that. Them don't work hard, them just easy going. But it shows that Bob's genius didn't come easy.
Exactly. They said he smoked a pound a day, which was a lie.
So his genius didn't come easy. Like, he was when he wanted that perfect sound, they had to do everything until they get it. And he won't stop until it finds it, till it rings true.
To tell you a little inside story about the album Catch a Fire that I wanted to say I keep talking about, and some of these songs come from the Catch a Fire album. They did Catch a Fire album in most of the songs in 2 takes. They spent in total 2 hours in the studio to record that album. To show you how well rehearsed they were before going into the studio, because Jamaican artists back then, you had to be. You remember when they showed with Cox and Dad?
Yeah.
With the group when they went to him? Sometimes groups would spend years perfecting their craft. And what the producers would do, would say every Sunday is rehearsal day. People come in to the studio, they would form a big line outside, waiting even from the night before to come and try to give their chance at getting to stardom. And they would rehearse so that they get the songs perfect, so the producers would choose them. And I used to love that about artistry back then.
That was the struggle though, because there was more artists than studios. Nowadays, someone can just record in their house. And it was more about the demand and the supply. So they didn't have time to, I need 10, 15 takes. You have to try and get it good in 2 takes.
In 2 takes.
And one of those will be published. You can't, if you mess up the first one, you mess up.
And the thing is that the recording method back then was a tape.
The live music.
Everything, that's another thing. But everything used to be on 1 or 2 tracks. The vocals and the instruments. So you have to get it correct. Sometime, for example, which year was in a 71? You used to have up to 3 tracks in 1971. You know, you have to get everything perfect. So that would lead to people artists being well rehearsed and ready, basically.
For real?
Yeah.
What else? Oh, you know what I mentioned?
Wow.
They mentioned a little bit about the herbs in the movie.
The lovely herb.
But they didn't give they didn't show much about his relationship with it.
No, they only showed him going about his day, him and the band members and who was surrounding.
It was evident there, but it wasn't something that they were pushing. Like there was like, oh, this was a key part of his life. It was just like a part of his life. But we all know for Rasta, each have their own meaning for the herbs and the role they play in them life.
And another thing I didn't mention, I forgot to mention earlier. You remember the guy, the Rasta man who was there when Rita went to the beach with them and introduced him to Bob?
The spiritual leader guy.
Marty Maplano. They changed his name in the movie. I don't know why. I wonder why.
Maybe he didn't give them.
But Marty Maplano is no longer with us.
Yeah, but the family still has the,
As a respect. Maybe Marty Maplano didn't want to be mentioned in any movie like that. Knowing Marty Maplano, he wouldn't want to be anyway. So they changed his name. But that guy was I would say the second most important person in Bob's life throughout his lifetime.
He was a spiritual leader.
Spiritual teacher. He was the man who taught him about Rastafari, how to be a Rasta. You know what it means to be a Rasta back in those times. And it was not easy being a Rasta. No. Being
a Rasta was you choose to be discriminated against.
Basically.
Yeah, but all right, guys. I think we covered everything. You know what? I don't feel like
we covered everything. We can go on. Honestly, we can go for 4 hours.
Put some of your comments there. Ask us some questions. What do you think it missed? Share your reviews on it. What do you want to see?
And go watch the movie, most of all. Really go out and watch the movie. It's a beautiful
support
movie.
It.
Not just only to support. You learn a lot from this movie, honestly.
Yeah, and big up to the cast. Big up everybody that put it together. I appreciate the effort. Finally, Jamaica has another movie that will be known for instead of Cool Runnings. Cool Runnings, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
time.
Feel
the rhythm. Feel the ride. Get ready. It's bobsled time.
Cool Runnings time. Now it's Bob Marley time.
Yeah.
Let this movie start shining. And remember to like, share, and subscribe.
And let your love shining through. We're out. Yardman Podcast are the one. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast. The Yardman Podcast. Tell you about the Yardman Podcast.
Subscribe now. We out.